I just got off a call that was quite inspiring to me with a supervisor of mine in a training program I just completed, a 6-month training uh, in becoming a Clear Belief certified therapeutic coach. Therapeutic coach meaning someone who is really a healer um, of the heart, mind, and soul of other humans. Therapeutic because it's sort of related to what therapists do, only better, much more powerful, much more transformative, much more effective. So, yeah, she had the job of reviewing a session that I had submitted for certification, and we both were blown away by what happened, by what we witnessed, by what I facilitated and helped birth in the experience of this woman client whose life was completely changed in under 90 minutes in one powerful session. And this was someone, like so many of my clients, who was struggling with a wounded part of herself, what we call a wounded inner child. Basically, the memory of a trauma happening early in life that had never been allowed to process, never been allowed to release. She'd never been permitted to feel as a child what she was feeling because the family she was in prevented that from happening. When you're a little child, you don't know how to interpret what's going on. You don't know better. You just know that you're hurting and that something doesn't feel right and that you're not being welcomed, you're not being loved, you don't feel safe. And this is because the parents also don't feel safe. The parents are also struggling with their own inner wounding, most likely, because trauma and wounds get passed on from generation to generation. But for the child, they usually take it on themselves. They usually make it their fault. They think they're in the wrong somehow, blame themselves, and often will just feel unloved and therefore unlovable. I don't know if you could relate to this. The majority of people that I encounter feel and express some degree of feeling unworthy, not good enough in some respect. Why would this be? How could a child be unworthy? How could a child be unlovable? Child is a piece of divine light entering into this world to incarnate. Without being interfered with, that child is just going to blossom into an expression of love, creativity, joy, enthusiasm, excitement for life. But instead, all too often, they get shut down, they get distorted in some way. Their natural energy is suppressed. So in this session that I facilitated, that was the most profound and sacred session that I've ever experienced or witnessed. This child finally received the love, the protection, the comfort, and was allowed to finally grieve, finally release the emotions that had been locked inside her. When a child has to shut down and lock inside of them their life force, their heart, their natural flow of energy, what happens is that part of your psyche gets encapsulated, frozen, put to one side, and is prevented from contributing to the natural life force flow of you. Part of you becomes deadened often, maybe frozen in fear or shame, whatever it is, isolation, abandonment. So many of us have one degree or another of this kind of trauma happening in childhood. And sometimes we don't even know it happened because our memories don't start that early. And sometimes we just take it as normal and we think that's who we are, or we think it's what's wrong with us. Um, and very often, whatever that rupture is in the self, where part of that innocence was hurt, part of that pure essence was crushed, the person can go through life feeling half alive, feeling despondent, feeling um, wrong, like there's something wrong with me. And that was certainly the case with this client. In that 90-minute session, less than 90 minutes, that child finally got held, loved, supported, felt safe for the first time, and was allowed to express her pain for the first time in 40 some years. A lot shifted in that one session. And this can happen over and over again because those encapsulated, frozen parts of us that get wounded, hurt, and shoved to one side, once they are acknowledged, witnessed, held, loved, protected, it's like a real person. That part of you, that innocent, beautiful essence of your child self, is like a real person. And when you feel that you're holding them in your arms, they feel it too. You can feel the merging happen, as my client did, where the love flowed back and forth between her and her 5-year-old self, who just felt so grateful and finally was able to just merge into my client's heart. And when that happens, it means that a part of you that has been separated, that you have been denied access to, the life force, the joy, the creativity of a child, gets reintegrated back into you. You become whole. Each time that happens, you become more whole, more free, more alive, more with more access to those qualities that a child has that we need, that fresh, exuberant aliveness, that innocent trust, that love, that creativity, all of that. There's no reason why we can't go through life with those kinds of energies flowing through us, making us more joyful and alive into our 80s and 90s. There's no reason why we should. That is our birthright. That's who we're supposed to be. We can be a wise elder and an innocent child at the same time because we are all of it. We, in our wholeness, contain multitudes. So this work is sacred work, the work of reuniting a wounded and exiled child that was banished from the family of self and allowed to come back, is allowed to come back, is healed, and actually feels safe for the first time. Can you imagine what that means to the adult being who has now relaxed and welcomed part of herself home for the first time? I just wanted to share that with you. It's an incredible privilege for me to do this kind of work and witness these transformations. If you're interested, if you're curious, you can get in touch with me. This is Tomar Levine from Soul Guidance for Awakening and Soul Guidance for Your Business. Many blessings to you. Much love. Bye for now.